All right, here we go with the news right here on TSC this week. And we're going to kick off with a bit of Impact news because Josh Alexander, the former Impact World Champion, has said in an interview with What Culture that CM Punk is welcome. He said, and we quote, that CM Punk, yeah, absolutely. I don't think you can question the guy's star power, his ability to get eyes on a product or a company. I saw Bully Ray recently say the exact same thing. You can say whatever you want, but I wasn't in these locker rooms seeing what had happened or transpired or the drama of everything that occurred. But I know who I am as a professional and an individual in this company, and I think I would work synergistically with a guy like CM Punk. Of course, we're both Bret Hart fans, so that might help. But I would love the opportunity to get in the ring with him, have a program with him in Impact or anywhere else. So obviously, the story about CM Punk is still going on. Where is he going to go? Where is he going to end up? Is he going to be in WWE at the Survivor Series in a couple of months' time now? Is he going to be at the Royal Rumble? Is he not going to be back in professional wrestling? But where do you want him to go? We've discussed it in depth over the last few weeks here on the Squared Circle, and I still don't know. But what I am potentially now getting a little bit fed up on is this constant, where is CM Punk going to go? Why don't we just wait and see? But would you like to see CM Punk in Impact Wrestling? Let me know. Malachi Black is gearing up for a return from injury. Malachi Black, who is part of the House of Black with Brody King and Buddy Matthews, have been used, as we know, in the Trios division. They lost the titles to the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn at All in August, which was Black's last match. Last month, Black posted a video on Instagram explaining his absence from AEW TV, claiming he doesn't have a rumored back injury, but he is dealing with a slight calf tear and knee hyperextension. This past week, Black's wife, Selena Vega, shared a video on Twitter of herself training with Malachi. I'm over the moon. I think the House of Black have been tremendous over the past few weeks on All Elite Wrestling TV. And for me, I'm really excited to see where they go now. They dropped the trios title to the Acclaim and Billy Gunn. They've got to be getting that rematch back. Is that going to take place at Full Gear? I kind of hope so because, the storyline with Black and the House of Black and Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed was a feel good story, right? It was what we all wanted, but doesn't necessarily mean it was the right thing to happen. So I don't know. I'm intrigued, but I want to see them go back into a feud with the Acclaimed again. I want them to see them have those trios titles, do everything under House of Black rules. It makes it feel fresh, it makes it feel unique, and it's just what the show needs, I think, and give them some identity. The Acclaimed don't seem to have that at the moment. International free agent Katsushiko Nakajima is catching the attention of both WWE and All Elite. Having wrapped up his tenure with Pro Wrestling Noah, he's considering his future. Since his debut in 2005, Nakajima has achieved amazing success, securing the GHC title on multiple occasions, the GHC Junior Heavyweight Championship 3 times, and the GHC Tag Team titles an impressive 6 times. During this past week's Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer mentioned the rumor that Nakajima may be signing with either WWE, All Elite, or New Japan. AEW President Tony Khan noted during the Wrestle Dream media scrum that the promotion was interested in signing him and that Nakajima had interest in signing with them. All Elite would be the perfect fit, I think, for Nakajima. Great talent, great inspirational man from Japan. Would he get lost in the WWE shuffle? That's a question to ask. He would definitely be down in NXT. But ultimately, the same question could be said about All Elite. We've already talked about on numerous occasions how much talent are in that roster within All Elite. Would he get lost? Would he have the chance to actually go out and make an impact? I don't know the answer to that. And I really wish I did because it does make you wonder about what's next for a lot of these workers that were in All Elite. We need to have a hard brand split. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later with Sam. All right, let's move on because All Elite superstar Adam Cole spoke with the UK's own Inside the Ropes discuss a whole plethora of different topics. During the interview, he recalled his matches with Pat McAfee in 2020 under the NXT banner. Cole noted that he thinks McAfee was so good because he's a fan, something that other celebrities may not be. He said, Pat, from watching years of pro wrestling, just understood certain nuances that someone takes a really, really long time to understand if you're not someone who has watched pro wrestling. I think between his athletic background, his gift of the gab, his love and appreciation in years and years of watching it, truth be told, I knew he was going to do really well. I knew that going in. But I was so happy to see that he exceeded everyone's expectations because I think at this point, he's proven that he's darn good, especially for his experience level. I think you see this with a lot of celebrity matches. Celebrities who come from the outside and want to work a match in pro wrestling, the ones who have watched it their whole life and really, really love it. My God, you can tell a difference. Pat McAfee was ready to go. Sorry, I won't do that again. The matches with Adam Cole and Pat McAfee were amazing, great. And we've seen Pat McAfee step up at WrestleMania, amongst others, across all of the industry, from commentary to competing in the ring to anything and everything. He has done it all. And for me, I enjoyed watching Pat McAfee versus Adam Cole in NXT, and I was really disappointed that we didn't get to see it on the main roster. Who knows? Could we see Pat McAfee in All Elite? Never say never. That's all I'm going to say on that. Samantha Irvin was a recent guest on Chris Van Vliet's podcast, and she talked about being compared to Lillian Garcia. She was asked if she had any interactions. She said she came to a SmackDown, we met, I was nervous, but she said, you're doing a great job and you're killing it. We then exchanged numbers. I got a little mushy and I let her know, I love you. Samantha Irvin is a ring announcer who really has had it hard within WWE. There's a portion of fans that love what she does, and I'm one of them. I think the emotion and the way she announces people is second to none. Better than Justin Roberts, better than Lillian Garcia to a degree. She's up there with the Think, but there's a lot of fans who hate her, and I don't think it's fair. She adds a different dimension. You know, I'm one of these people that love having women ring announcers anyway. It's different. It's unique. It's modern, and she's definitely got a way of bringing you in to the context and in to the introduction, and you can hear that enthusiasm in her voice when she does it. Talking about enthusiasm, Dax Harwood and Chris Cash Wheeler want to face Darby Allin and Sting for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Dax Harwood said on Twitter, FTR and the pairing of Allin and Sting have shared numerous occasions in AEW, both as allies and opponents. However, the two teams are yet to square off in tag action in what might now consider a dream match. Having never lost a singles match as a team, Sting and Darby Allin challenging FDR for their titles will certainly not be short on stakes. And now you've got to think about Darby Allin is pretty much done with the TNT title. He's going to be going after Nick Wayne. Could this be on the future for Allin and Sting? Would you like to see Darby Allin and Sting as AEW World Tag Team Champions? Let me know. All right, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking more of the Squared Circle. Let me know what you think of the show on social media above and on audio, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, and X at TSC Wrestling Pod. I'll see you after this. All right, we're back here at the Squared Circle, and I am actually, for the love nor money, not alone in this segment. I've done the rest of this show on my own, and I've now got my co-host who's turned up. Sam, how you doing, big man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, wise man. Yeah, no, I'm really good. Had a crazy week at work, and I've got a crazy day ahead of me in the form of going to London for stuff for my new job. But I'm really buzzing. Get to watch a lot of wrestling on the way up, on the train, on the way back. Oh, what a shame!
At least you're not going up to Manchester, on the HS2. Oh, is it too soon? Too soon,
Oh,
sir.
too
Too
soon, too
soon.
soon.
All right. So
Oh, sir, too soon.
this week, I think, Sam, is synonymous for one thing, and that is not only did we have a double header of cracking pay-per-views in terms of No Mercy and Wrestle Dream, which was better than it really should have been.
Wow, yes.
Do you know what I mean? It happened. The Rated R superstar, we can officially say that, Adam Copeland, has signed with All Elite Wrestling on a full-time deal, will be on Dynamite and on Collision, and next Tuesday on the Tuesday Night Wars, will be facing off against Luchasaurus in his in-ring debut on Dynamite. So we thought, what better way to do than do a talking point this week on Adam Copeland? And actually, is this the right thing, not only for him, but for All Elite Wrestling? So let's go back to Wrestle Dream. I said to Mike McGuire on Wrestling's Facebook group that if he hadn't have turned up, if he hadn't have debuted, there would have been a lot of people extremely fed up because that was the way it was looking, right? Everything was pointing towards it. What was going through your mind watching it? Because we've watched it separately, seeing the VT and then seeing Adam Copeland walk out on stage, basically doing Edge.
Um, I, I was a big kid. I literally had goosebumps. Even though I expected it, and I said it in the preview and all stuff like that, I pretty much thought it was a done deal. It was a signed, sealed, delivered, he's yours type of moment. But I still marked out. I still got goosebumps. But then the questions started going in my head. When he came out, I was thinking, oh, are we then going to instantly have Edge and Christian join up together? Or are we going to get this? And I was so happy. Obviously, we'll talk more about what's happened next and stuff like that. And I thought this is amazing. But then there was also a bit of trepidation, I think the word is, correct, went in my mind as well. Almost, is this the best move? Is this not the best move? But then, like you say, a lot of fans would have been very upset, and probably the whole stadium booed um,
Mm.
if he didn't turn up, because it's one of those things of like everyone thinks he's going to turn up. Everyone thinks he's going to turn up. No, where is he? Where is he? It's like you've been promised birthday cake, but you don't get a birthday cake on your birthday.
I think the problem for me with the debut was the minute the lights went dark, obviously you knew it was going to happen. Then they do this VT that was filmed the night before in Seattle with Darby Allin. If you've watched the media call, it's a hilarious story that Adam talks about. He's hanging out of a muscle car with Darby Allin, literally with a go-to camera, filming it as he's doing all of this. But on the road, it says "Rated R Superstar," and it's
Yeah,
like just that suspension of disbelief, just for a second, right? We knew it was coming. We knew it was going to happen. But I think for me, that spoilt it because
yeah.
you knew it was going to go. But the other thing is, I think as well, the minute they announced that Darby Allin Christian is going to be the main event of Wrestle Dream, you knew Adam's debut was going to take place. Because why else
Mm.
would you not have put Brian Danielson and Zack Sabre
Yeah.
Jr. as the main event?
And this is the one thing I love AEW. I'll fully admit, if someone had to, if someone turned to me and said you have to pick one of them, I would pick WWE because of my childhood. However, because I'm not yet got to, it's only been 4 years, but I'm not yet to that point that I love AEW more than WWE, and I don't know if I ever will. However, I do love it. Don't get me wrong. We were there at Wembley. You saw me. I marked out like a
Mm,
proverbial every
massively.
single match.
Yeah.
I was a big kid in a candy shop. However, the one thing I really don't like about AEW is announcing, and the same thing with WWE, but more about AEW, is about how they announce their main events. Don't announce them unless you're building a massive storyline leading up to it. Because
Mm.
lead that suspension of disbelief of, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. Wonder what's going to happen next. Oh, that's interesting. Because he could have turned up at any time. It's a bit like we don't know when Jade Cargill is going to turn up on WWE. Obviously, we then have found out since that actually she may be turning up on Raw. She may also turn up on SmackDown. She may turn up at Fastlane. Who knows? We don't actually know the actual date. It's not been announced on social media in the world. But the same with this, it wasn't announced. but it was pretty short than when we're being told that the main event is a best out of three falls or two
2 out of 3 falls.
two or three falls match. You're kind of going, oh, and it's Christian and Darby Allin, all, and who's Christian's best friend? So that's also at points enemy in storylines. Oh, Edge, or sorry, Adam Copeland, the Roadstar superstar. And I was just sat there going, because I know that, I'm going to be even more pissed off if he doesn't turn up. And that was the issue. And that's what they shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I mean, you've got the dream match of Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson that was quite easily, for me, match of the night. You know, without shadow of a doubt, it was match of the night. You could even go as far as saying the trios match, you know, the Callis family and Kenny Omega, Ibushi and Jericho could have main evented. On any other show, it would have done that.
Yeah, definitely.
I cannot remember the last time the TNT title main evented a pay-per-view. I genuinely can't. I don't think it's ever been done.
And I love that. I love the fact of that. But then I think it was overshadowed by the fact of we're waiting, when's Edge going to turn up? When's Edge going to turn up? Is he going to be the reason why it's going to be two on one situation?
Do you think, though, that as much as we do this show every week and we're wrestling fans, it's wrestling chat for wrestling fans, right? And that's what it is. You look at the dirt sheets, you look at... We're not from Chicago, bud. You look at the dirt sheets, right? You look at the various different news outlets like Wrestle Talk, like Inside the Ropes, like everything else. And all of them have reported over the last couple of weeks, Adam Copeland's contract expires at midnight on the 1st of October. He could go to WrestleDream. He could be at WrestleDream. On the 31st of September, going into the 1st of October. So, do we take the fun away ourselves being too much into the inner workings of the business as smart fans? And I say that with so much respect, right?
Yeah.
But as smart fans, do we actually take away from what it is? Because it is a soap opera, it is a story. This is all building up somewhere.
Yeah.
And like you said, we're sat here going, if Adam Copeland doesn't arrive, we debut. It's like the Rumble, a few years ago, right? If Daniel Bryan wasn't in the Rumble, we riot. And what happened? Daniel Bryan wasn't in the Rumble, and poor Rey Mysterio got absolutely battered when he came out as number 30. So, do we bring this on ourselves as smart wrestling fans in this modern day era?
So I'm going to use actually Adam Copeland as the reference point. Royal Rumble a few years back, we didn't know he was coming back. And then suddenly, smoke bellows out, and on this day, and the whole place went crazy because none of us were expecting him to turn up. This is what was such a shame, that fact of this, we could have had that exact same moment. Completely not known. And especially with the fact we wouldn't expect Alter Bridge to be playing, because when does Tony Khan get lucky enough to get the actual proper music that they want and that?
He didn't.
No, I know. But it's that situation of that it's all those little factors that I think to myself, if we didn't know this, or if we didn't know that. So I do agree, yes, it is. We've brought it upon ourselves. But then also, the company I've brought on. It's a very difficult state of affairs. And I think someone put on Twitter, X, quite right, that when they were looking back about the stats about how, like, the viewings, and throughout it all, sorry, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. Throughout it all, there was a moment where the ratings started to drop, and then suddenly this match started, and it went on a level playing field. It's interesting because that match wasn't a short match, in all fairness.
No, it was 23 minutes, I believe it was.
And I know it's a 2 out of 3 fall. However, you could probably still get to the point where, okay, it's 5 minutes in, he's still not there yet. Oh, it's a bit like, I'll use an analogy that I use all the time, but it's like waiting for a pizza. It says on your app that it's going to turn up, but it's not here yet. It's the same with I was sat there, even though I was watching it after already knowing he turned up. Like, I knew. I unfortunately got the spoilers. I tried to stay spoiler free, and I stupidly went on X to look about the American football, and I saw about wrestling. I have two loves in my life, and one of them screwed the other one over. It was the
Mm.
emotional screw job of X. So for me, but it was one of those moments. But basically, Sam screwed Sam, with with it all, I was that moment. Even though I knew he came out, I didn't know how he came out. I just everybody
Mm.
came. I stayed away from how that happened,
You see,
and I was
the problem
gutted.
the problem for me was the fact that I mean we'll touch on that in just a second because I remember I WhatsApped you on Monday morning going, well you WhatsApped me going I know three big spoilers and I'm like I know one. I'm not going to tell you in case it's not the one you
Yeah,
know. And you went, is it a return? I was like, yes. So,
yeah,
and then I think we gifted it just so it
yeah,
was like we could work out who it was, and that's a nice thing when you're doing it with a mate and you're kind of doing the gif and you're talking about this and that and all that type of thing. But it didn't add anything to the match.
no,
And this is the reason why. That match was overbooked. That was a WrestleMania X7 Rock Austin level of overbook. There was
oh yeah,
too much. There was too much going on. The turn of Nick Wayne, which you could see coming a mile away, I even called it last week on the show. You knew that was going to happen. The introduction of Sting to come down, then Edge comes down. It was too much, and it took. I think it actually took away from the match
yeah, no, I agree.
because
It did.
everybody was like, "When is Adam Copeland coming?" That was it. When is Edge going to arrive? All the way through that pay per view. When is Edge going to arrive? When is Edge going to arrive? When is Edge going to arrive? The one thing I will say to you is, I know it's Beth Phoenix who did the voiceover at the beginning, but it needs to be louder.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But
But
and and, and sorry, Sam, just one more thing
yeah,
before because now I'm on a bit of a tirade. Um, the presentation, it's Edge. The pyro is the same. The stage movements are the same. The music, I get it, is the same. WWE dropped a massive ball back in 2020 and let Rated R Superstar trademark go. So that is now theirs. He's got that,
yeah,
right? So they can legitimately call him the Rated R Superstar, which is brilliant. But is it going to the well once too many times and just using the same package? It's WWE Edge, just with his real name.
it's literally what I was going to say. Is the factor of with like you say, it was overbooked. Very much WrestleMania X7. Um, I felt at points with the match where you saying about overbooked, it was because you should have picked one or the other. It's a
Mm,
bit like you have they're in the nicest possible way to Tony, um, also on first name terms. No, but to Tony that I felt like he was almost like that kid who went to an all-you-can-eat buffet and got so much food and couldn't eat it all. It's basically like Andy Evans at All In.
thank you.
But no, on all seriousness though, it was. I felt like he had eyes too big for his boots. He literally did. He had that moment where, oh, I want to have this, I want to have that, I want to have this, I want to have that, I want to have this, and it built up
Mm,
and built up, built up, and then it became a bit of a clusterfuss. And the thing for me was, it didn't take away from Adam Copeland's debut. Don't get me wrong, like that was still amazing, still got goosebumps. But I think it'd have been even more of a big impact if suddenly, like halfway through a move, suddenly the music plays, he comes out, and he doesn't do his whole stand there doing that, all stuff like that, and or even the Beth Phoenix voiceover thing happens, but like you say, louder. Then the
mm.
music hits, and we're like, okay, what? And then suddenly he comes running out. Even if he ran through the smoke, run to the ring. I think that would have been a bigger impact than having that moment. But I understand he was allowed to
You,
have that moment of standing there going yeah something. Do you know what I mean?
you, you see,
That's how I felt.
I do agree with you to a degree, but then I also kind of go, this is wrestling. We're used to having run-ins where and it's an age-old argument that I've always had with any presenter that I've done the show with or a show with. How can it be an unprepared run-in when music is queued up and the Titantron is playing? Do you know what I mean? I know it's wrestling. I know people are going to be watching this and listening to this going, get a grip, guys, get a life. It's scripted. I know that. But wouldn't it have been better if halfway through the match, the camera had panned around the arena and saw Adam Copeland sat not front row, not even second row, but like 3 or 4 rows back in the crowd watching the match. And then all of a sudden, when the ending's happening and Nick Wayne is attacking, going, I've had enough of this, gets up, jumps the guardrail. The announcers are selling it like, what the hell is going on? It's him, it's him. In he comes and drops Christian with the spears and everything else. That would have made much more of an impact and been believable than I've been sat in the back with my mate all day having a beer and
Yeah,
some chicken wings. Eh? Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? That's
Or
sometimes you
ECW
just
One Night Stand when
yeah.
RVD versus John Cena, and suddenly this guy in a long jacket that we've kind of seen before, but we haven't seen before, and a motorbike helmet comes out to no music and spears, helmet off. It's the rated R superstar Edge. And it's, or we go back to Survivor Series when it was the debut of the Shield. Lights went
Yeah.
out, and so no, I don't think even the lights went out. I think it was suddenly they just jumped over the rail. Who are these guys? Pick up, slam. It's that thing like they could have so easily done it. And obviously we're talking now in past tense because what
Mm.
could have been. It won't
And
change now, but
and we're also
mm,
armchair bookers, right? We're
yeah,
internet
yeah.
fans that are watching this, going, "This is what we would have done in hindsight." But I think what I'm trying to get at is, instead of just going to the well once too many times, they need to start coming up with something that's different.
Mm,
That is all right. There's only so many ways you can debut a new character, right? I get it. There is only so many ways, and when I was in the business, it was difficult to come up with unique ideas all the time to debut someone. But everybody knows if there's a beatdown and the lights go out, there's going to be a debut. Do it differently. Just make it a shock, because all you're doing, AEW, and I love AEW. Unlike you, I used to be WWE through and through when I was a kid. I would say I'm now more Impact, All Elite, New Japan than WWE. So if you cut me, my blood would be various different colors, not just the WWE. An indie darling.
no, to be
Um,
fair, I absolutely adore Impact, and that's not because we've
yeah,
got links to them. I love
no, no, no.
Impact. I love it when it's TNA. I love it now in Impact.
I know you do.
It runs through my veins.
But I think the one thing about AEW is they get criticized a lot for stealing a lot of the WWE guys once they're released, right? And we've yet to see guys like Dolph Ziggler and all that type of thing turn up, which we won't. But yet Tony, as good as what he is at booking cards, and let's say the pay-per-views they've put out are stellar. They are fantastic. They shouldn't be, with the fact that you book them 4 days before the actual live date, but they are brilliant pay-per-view events, right? Too long, but they're brilliant. But you need to become more original in terms of how you're doing your booking and how you're differentiating your product from WWE. You have to, because all you're going to do if you go on X now is, oh, Adam Copeland's debuted in front of 7 people because nobody was in attendance and he saw it and you could see the smile and all right, and
Yeah,
what does that
and
prove? Or they're going
it's
on, or they go on X. Oh, Tony Khan's just ripped off this debut from this year in the WWE. I get it. Wrestling is cyclic. Everything is done the same. Now is your opportunity, Tony. You, Danielson, whoever's on creative, come up with different, unique ideas that differentiate you from the WWE. And you could have done that with Adam Copeland's debut.
yeah, and there's someone put on Twitter about the whole debuting was another Royal Rumble where Adam Copeland came in, and I can't remember. It was the one leading into WrestleMania 26. And the camera was on the other side. A hard camera was on the other side. It was
Mm.
very confusing. It was the same one that Beth Phoenix kissed the Great Khali to get him out of the Rumble.
Oh,
CM
yeah.
Punk had his continuously go out, and Edge and Batista both did surprise returns. We were like, what didn't expect it, and that's what could have worked with him going on Sunday night was the factor of yes, we
Mm.
kind of heard that the what's called his health was better and all that stuff with that Royal Rumble. Yes, we kind of knew that he was going to sign in, but we still were like, okay, it's got to like number 27 now. Where is he? Compared to, and that was we could have had that feeling, but we didn't. We had this feeling of where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? It's like, where are we there yet? Sort of thing. We're like kids do on journeys.
Yeah. Yeah, and I totally get it. But let's move on quickly. Let's look at some of the other things. So we know now that he's full time. We know it's a
Hmm.
full time schedule. We know this week he's on Dynamite and on Collision, and next Tuesday night he's on Dynamite in ring debut. I want to talk about that in just a second. But where do you go with Adam Copeland now? Because what do you do with him? He said he's come to AEW because he wants new challenges. He's done everything he can in 25 years in WWE, and I get that. I agree with him. But surely you're not going to put the world championship on Adam Copeland. Really?
I don't think he
Where do
actually
you go
needs
with the
any
guy?
title. So I don't think he needs any title right now, maybe even ever. The thing I feel, and how I feel like could easily work really well, is you could have it that does the storyline with Christian right now. And I think you mentioned it, I want to say it was last week or the week before, you mentioned about the factor of the whole storyline of I know you, like trying
Mm,
to pull him almost back to the light side instead of being on the dark side. I know you, this isn't you. Or to the point where he turns heel and actually goes, I know this is the true you. This is the you that we should have had back in that company we weren't allowed to be ourselves.
mm,
We did it. They when they did the Edge and Christian show, like we saw their true selves. Like they could be very much that in their promos, in their backstage stuff. And I put this on our chat on WhatsApp. I I'm being a bit of a mark and that lot and being a fancy booker, but I would love to see by next year's All In him versus Miro or him versus Kenny Omega. They're the two people I'd love to see him in a match with because of their different styles. And where I see him being used, and it is no offense to him, but it's actually a bit of praise to him, helping push those younger guys, making the Darby Allens look even better than they already are. Like all these different things that, if that makes sense, it's the factor
mm,
of he said he wants to be there to build them up, and I
mm.
feel he needs to be careful that he's not coming in thinking, oh well, I'm the 25-year veteran. I can teach you everything I know. I'm the grandma, and I can teach you how to suck eggs. I'm not saying he's going to be that, but at the same point, he needs to be careful not to be that. So yeah, my
That
impression
was
of
a.
the data.
I will just say that was a very good Boise impression from Only Fools and
Yeah.
Horses. Very good,
Mine.
very good Boise impression. I think the two guys that you've mentioned there are interesting because I don't want to see him go up against Jericho. I don't want to see him go up against Brian Danielson. I don't want to see him even go up against Miro because we've seen it. We've seen those matches in the WWE system. We may not have seen it now they're free of the WWE bubble,
Yeah, and that's my
right?
thing.
But I do want to see him against Omega. That would be great.
Hmm.
I'd love to see him against the Switchblade Jay White. I'd love to see him against Ricky Starks. MJF would be a good match, not for the title, but would be a good match.
Adam
Takeshita,
Cole.
Adam Cole, Takeshita would be a great one. Will Ospreay would be a tremendous match, right? And if you want to take Will Ospreay down this legend killer gimmick, potentially, he's taken Jericho out, he's taken Omega out, he could take out Adam Copeland. So there is, I get it, there is lots of things to do, but my concern is you're bringing another veteran, another 25-year pro, early 50s. How long has he got left on his career? Not that long, legitimately.
Yeah.
Is that sacrificing the spot of someone like Ricky Starks, of someone like Miro, of someone like Wardlow, who hasn't been seen on TV since June, of someone like Kip Sabian, of someone like Darby Allen to a degree, of Jack Perry? Yeah, I can't say his name. Of
Yeah,
do, do
Andrade.
Andrade Adidolo, Malachi Black, Brody King, right? All of these guys that they've got on their roster that are young and upcoming, the next level talent, are they going to be sacrificed now because you've got Jericho who's on everything, you've got Danielson who's on pretty much running Collision now, Edge is in the building, Moxley's in the house, Castagnoli's in the house.
And that's the thing that so to touch on 2 points. One point is we're going back to Miro, and it's because I'm a Miro fan, but no,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
know
just
you
because
are.
I'm a Miro fan. I was looking back, they didn't really have much of a run in together in the WWE. And in WWE, Rusev, when he was in WWE, now Miro, was a completely different guy. Like they are the two. Some people who've come over have been exactly the same. Like Andrade, love him, he's amazing. but he's pretty much the same character. Malachi Black, I'm a massive Malachi Black mark. You know that here to the moon and back.
Yeah.
But there is inklings of still Alistair Black, and it's that. But I feel Miro is completely different. He's this new unleashed. He is the Redeemer. Um, like it's a completely different feel, and I feel his style now that versus a style of Adam Copeland would just be incredible. But you say those names, and another match I'd love to see him in is him versus Roderick Strong, because actually they did a bit of training together when Adam Copeland was getting himself ready. Let's get rid of the stupid neck collar thing, and we skip that bit. That's by the by. But him versus Roderick Strong in the program would be incredible. Those two could bounce off each other so well with both promos and also in ring ability. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But then we also talk about that second point is the fact that what he's going to do next, what he's going to bring to the product, is he going to take away from other people? And that's why I do get worried. I even when the 90 days is up and we've got Dolph Ziggler, we've got Mustafa Ali and people like that, I would love them to come to AEW because of their opportunities, but we've also already got a stacked card. There's a big thing about the fact that Jade Cargill will be the second superstar to come to WWE. Well, no, she's the third, because under the radar, Brian Pillman Jr. is coming to WWE. And that guy left AEW and didn't want to re-sign because he said the roster's too stacked. No one's getting opportunities. And he said there are people who are being brought in, and there's other people who have already been there, who have been working their rear ends to the bone. Yeah, and he made the point of, look at the Pinnacle, how good they were and how short-lived that was. Yet that was 4 guys or 5 guys who were incredible. He wasn't linked into that said faction, but he used it as a point that they were so good, yet look at what happened to them. And in all fairness, 3 of them were ex-WWE guys. But
but I don't think... I think the Pinnacle's a wrong example to use, because actually, if you look at the Pinnacle, you've got the greatest tag team to ever live, which is FTR. You've got the reigning World Heavyweight Champion and one half of the ROH Tag Team Champions. The person who did the worst out of that was Wardlow. But to kind of counteract... And Shane Spear, okay. To kind of counteract my argument from earlier on, only 2 of those, or 3 of those people were WWE, FTR and Shane Spears, right? Perfect 10 didn't really do anything in WWE, didn't really do anything in AEW. But the homegrown talent of Maxwell Jacob Friedman is the hottest heel in professional wrestling at the moment.
Yeah.
Face,
and it's not one of the
tweener.
One of the best in the history. But what I'm getting is what I'm meaning is Brian Pillman made Junior, should I say. He made the point of the fact that that's one of the reasons why he left. And all that I love Adam Copeland, he is one of my top 10 favourite wrestlers of all time. Don't get me wrong, and I'm so glad to see him in there, and I'm glad he's not being wasted, no offence WWE, but wasted in WWE, because what were they going to do with him? And I agree with what he said. He had left there because he loved it, but they had nothing for him. It's that factor of what's going to happen next. Has AEW got something for him, or are they going to make up opportunities for him and take them from somewhere else? Is that going to be another person who's going to go, do you know what? I'm going to go to WWE, because we've heard about Ricky Starks now is saying it's already all these factors. But and I know he jokes, but MJF, who knows? He could turn around and go, actually, yeah, next year. I don't think he's going to. It's a classic. It's
storyline.
Cause heat.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't blame him, because at points that he could probably go into WWE and go straight into the main event picture, like Cody Rhodes has. But this is the thing. Like, I hope, because I also think that would also taint his turning up in AEW, should I say, that I hope Adam Copeland isn't going to take massive opportunities from other people. It's it'd be an interesting one to watch to see what happens next.
It would be. As we begin to wrap up Talking Point this week, let's ask one question. It's a quick question. Should there now be a hard brand split? Yes or no?
Yes. Simple as yes.
And who do you put where? Because you're going to have... This is the thing now. You've got Danielson, who's pretty much running Collision, so he's a lock to stay on Collision. I would assume Adam Copeland would be on Dynamite. So where do you put Jericho?
Rampage. And build up Rampage. No. We said this.
So you're meaning a 3 brand split?
Yeah. WWE have it. but then have one show that is shorter than the others, but it's still other matches, and have it that you have almost, you could have the team captains of Danielson, Copeland, and Jericho, and
Makes
it
sense.
could work. And
It may-
like Jericho also has the opportunity, if he has the only 1 hour show of Rampage, that type of setup, he can then still do his touring because he doesn't have
yeah.
to be there every week. It's
Just before
yeah,
we finish this, one thing that's come out of WWE is NXT next week, and we've talked about Copeland's in-ring debut against Luchasaurus on Dynamite. However, WWE have taken it one step further. They've booked Asuka, John Cena, Paul Heyman, Cody
and a few
Rhodes,
others that I'm sure who will
and
turn
a
up.
few others that I can't remember. What does that in your mind say? Because to me, that says A, we're either extremely pissed off at Adam Copeland for joining All Elite, or B, we're actually quite nervous about what this guy can do.
I think it's the latter. I think it is they. I think it's the latter for two reasons. One reason is the fact that everyone's going to want to see what he's going to be like in AEW, because he's going to be different, because he's not going to be tied down anymore, and they've got to realise that is the situation. But then they've also got the other side of it, is the fact of what AEW going to do with him. So then they are maybe like trembling in their boots, and they're going, oh my god, what's going on next? Oh no, I don't know. And it's a factor of, we all want to know what's happening next. Like, I'll fully admit out there, fancy booking. I want to see within the next few months. I want to see a Jericho, Adam Copeland tag team against against FTR, because I think that would be amazing. I'd love to see a Christian Cage versus Edge in a no disqualification match, because they can go full on hell for leather at each other. Yeah, they're best friends, or even down the line them and tag to each other. And it's that factor of, we can fancy book and fancy book, we just don't know. But that's what's happening next Tuesday. We're going, what is this big announcement Cody's making, and how is it going to turn out about this this in-ring debut? Because, no offense, we've seen him wrestle before, so
I
it's
tell
an
you,
in-ring debut for that company, but it's not his first ever match ever.
I can tell you what the Cody Rhodes announcement is going to be. I can tell you right here, right now. Cody
Right,
Rhodes
that
is going
was
to come
them.
down. He's going to come down to the ring. He's going to say, "What do you want to talk about, NXT?" That's going to kick it off, right?
Mm.
And then he's going to turn around and say, "Because I can't challenge Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title, and because Roman Reigns kicked my backside, and I can't win that title, I'm challenging Ilya Dragunov for the NXT Championship." And that will be it.
Okay, I'm going to one up that.
Uh-oh.
So they're going Tuesday Night Wars, yeah? They're going up against Dynamite.
For 1
Which,
week
in all
only.
fairness,
For 1 week.
for 1 week only, but also that is Dynamite putting on that. They're always on Tuesday, so it's not like they're moving their night just to make against thing. They're just making a big thing of it. I hope NXT doesn't open with anything else but a Cody Rhodes cold open. Him already standing in the ring, spotlight on him, bit like he used to do in AEW. I love that.
Oh,
I
just
love it. It was
kind of like,
little salt in the wound. Little salt in the wound.
oh, God, you got to be there. Sam, brilliant having you joining me for just this one quick section of TSC. You are back next week, right? You are going to be
Yeah,
back next week.
I'm back in the studio next week. Sorry, guys. Life has been pretty crazy, and I'm getting prepared going up to London and leaving very early in the morning. So,
I did it earlier. I did it last week,
yeah,
so I know
yeah.
where you're coming from. Right, we'll be back after this. We're going to go to a quick break. More TSC coming up with me on my Todd after this. We'll see you soon, Sam. We'll see you next week.
See you later, guys.
See you in a minute. All right, welcome back to TSC. This is pay-per-view preview time, because this Saturday, WWE Fastlane takes place live on the WWE Network, or on pay-per-view. Is it pay-per-view? It's premium live event, isn't it? We're getting it all now. You know, we've had All Elite, we've had NXT, now we got WWE. A bit of a different one. This is only 5 matches so far announced on the card. So let's go through the predictions. We're going to kick off with the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles. It's the Judgment Day. Finn Balor and Senor Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, facing off against Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Now, I think there's only one way they can go with this one. They've obviously done this big storyline of Jey Uso now coming to Monday Night Raw. You've got Cody Rhodes bringing him over. You've got this partnership. Jey Uso trying to make amends for what he's done on the Bloodline. And I think Cody Rhodes, who, let's face it, hasn't had the best championship standing in WWE since returning. So I'm going with Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. And funnily enough, because I have his predictions right here, so is Sam. Next up, six-man tag team action. It's Latino World Order, Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and either Joaquin Wilde or Cruz del Toro with Selena Vega facing off against Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. This is a coffee match. It really is. I don't care. I'm not interested in it. But Sam is going Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. I think I have to agree with that. I don't see how else you can do any other way. Triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship. Io Sky facing off against Asuka, facing off against Charlotte Flair. Interesting one, this, because it's kind of building similar to SummerSlam and what they've done since then. You know, Asuka is badly used and badly utilized in WWE. Charlotte Flair doesn't need to be in the title picture. I think that's clear to say. Io Sky is doing good as women's champion, but she needs a big win. With that in mind, Sam has gone Charlotte Flair, and he's saying that Cora Jade, will make her debut to face up to Jade Cargill, not Cora Jade. Jade Cargill will make her debut. I'm, however, going to go Io Sky to retain, and I don't think we will see a Jade Cargill debut. I think it's too quick for her, but you know, rumors are she's going to be at Fastlane, so who knows? I just think it's too quick. Yeah, I'm not sure. Next up is the second main event. It's the tag team match. John Cena and LA Knight, facing off against the Bloodline, Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa with Paul Heyman. What's going to be interesting here is that you've got the Usos on TV for the first time together. So you've got Jey Uso obviously going for the tag titles for Raw, and you've got Jimmy Uso teaming up with Solo in a tag match against the returning John Cena and LA Knight. Yeah, let me talk to you. This has got to go Cena and LA Knight, right? They're not going to bring Cena back and have him lose. Just not. Not in this feud. How they're going to do it, I don't know, but I think it is putting LA Knight into contention for the title picture. I hope so. So a win over the Bloodline and Uso would be more of a way to get him into that. So both Sam and I have gone with Cena and LA Knight. Yeah. Next up, the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Frickin' Rollins facing off against Shinsuke and Nakamura. This is a last man standing match for the World Heavyweight title. Now, this is where I think we're going to get a bit of difference, because all the way through this, apart from one match, we've gone the same, Sam and I. Sam is predicting Nakamura to walk out as the World Heavyweight Champion. I'm predicting Seth Rollins to retain. And there's two reasons for this. And let me tell you the reason why. Number one is I think that it's too quick to take the strap off Rollins. He's had it since June, July time. He's defended it frequently, much more than Roman Reigns has done in 3 years, and he's given it prestige. Nakamura is quite simply doing the best work that he's done within WWE since arriving in that company. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think they will put the title on to Shinsuke Nakamura. So my prediction is Seth Rollins, and Sam is Nakamura. All right, so that's Fastlane. Next week on the show, we will give you our full rundown and how that's going to impact the Prediction League next Monday, right here on TSC. We're going to wrap up the show now with wrestling history, my favorite segment of the week. Because we're going to go back in time and look at things that took place. And we're going to kick it off going back to October the 2nd, 2019. AEW Dynamite aired for the first time from the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. The first ever match saw Cody Rhodes defeat Sammy Guevara. The main event was a six-man tag pitting the world champion Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz against the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. And it was the team of the Inner Circle that won the match. October 3rd, moving on, is also synonymous for two events. And we're going to go back further in time to 1991 because WWE presented from the Royal Albert Hall the Battle Royal. It was headlined by a 20-man Battle Royal with the winner taking home the Royal Samovar Trophy, never to be seen again. The match was won by the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, but also October the 3rd was known for Raw Homecoming. And this took place in 2005 because Monday Night Raw returned to its original home, the USA Network, after 5 years broadcasting on Spike, formerly TNN. The show was titled Raw Homecoming. It was the first ever 3-hour Raw and had a triple main event. Edge defeated Matt Hardy to retain the Money in the Bank. Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels fought to a 2-all draw in a 30-minute Iron Man match. And in the night's last match, John Cena defeated Eric Bischoff in a no disqualifications match for the WWE Championship. Do you know what? I remember watching Raw Homecoming. I think it was just an absolutely tremendous way. It made it feel big. It made it feel like a spectacle. It made it feel like it meant something. And that's what wrestling's all about, right? It's still a spectacle. I still go back and enjoy watching um, Raw Homecoming when I can. Now, October 4th, 1975 is synonymous with this. Ric Flair was among the passengers involved in a plane crash on approach to Wilmington Airport in North Carolina. The plane contained the Nature Boy, David Crockett, Bob Bruggers, Tim Mr. Wrestling Woods, and Johnny Valentine. Although none of the wrestlers passed away, the pilot, one Joseph Farkas, slipped into a coma and died 2 months after the incident. Valentine suffered injuries that confined him to a wheelchair for the rest of his life, and the Nature Boy famously suffered a broken back. Multiple doctors implored him to retire from the ring. Instead, he returned to action just 8 months later and went on ever since, right the way up to retirement. In fact, Ric Flair would still go now if he could. I'm glad he doesn't, but he could still do it. October the 5th, 1997. At a SmackDown taping in Uniondale, Droz suffered an injury. That's the first one that we're going to touch on. But in 1997, hours before he was due to appear at In Your House Bad Blood, Brian Pillman was found dead in a St. Louis hotel room at 35 years old. Pillman really gained notoriety in the WWE as this loose cannon, leaving WCW in what was many believed to be a very well-planned work on his part, going to ECW, reinventing himself, and then coming into the WWF. He formed part of the Hart Foundation with the hitman Bret Hart, Jim Neidhart, the British Bulldog, and Owen Hart. He had a feud with Goldust, Dustin Rhodes. He had and won possession of Marlena. He really was on the run of his career in the WWF, and he was taken far too soon. Brian Pillman was known really in tag team action, especially in the mid-90s, with Steve Austin as the Hollywood Blondes in WCW, where they were multiple World Tag Team Champions. And it was really great to see Brian Pillman in the WWF. But after he had the car accident and the ankle injury, he just wasn't quite the same. Ultimately, passed away in 1997. Now, 24 hours later, Monday Night Raw took place live, and it featured one of the most controversial moments in the history of Raw, as WWE conducted an interview with Brian's widow, Melanie Pillman, that aired less than 24 hours after the passing of Brian Pillman. It still goes down today as we said, one of the most controversial moments. Should it have happened? I don't think so. I don't think it was needed. I really don't. I think that she obviously got paid a lot of money for that. I'm assuming, and we're assuming, don't quote me on it, but distasteful by WWE, in my opinion, to do that. At least give it a couple of weeks before bringing her onto television. You didn't see that with Eddie's widow, with Vicky Guerrero. You haven't seen that with anybody else. You didn't see them do that with Scott Hall. Um, yeah, not didn't really sit right with me. All right, that's it for this week. That is the Squared Circle. Thank you for joining me and for Sam for one segment. It's been a bit of a weird show this week, hasn't it? Kind of going from solo to two-man, back to solo again. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, thank you for joining us. If you would like to get in contact with me, you can do. All you need to do is head over to TSC Wrestling Pod on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, and of course, X. But until next time, I will see you at the matches. Take care for now. So long. Bye-bye.